In video one of this series, I told you about what I've been dealing with in my life over the last few years of breaking away from Brothers Green and everything that comes along on that journey, dealing with change head on. And in video two, hopefully I provided you with some tools to deal with the change in your life, something that's coming up if you're not feeling motivated to get through to the next level, to, find that next job that feels great or that career path that you're confident about. And I think, the overall theme is that change is really difficult. Human beings, we do not like change. If we like change, the world would look much different. Everyone would just be totally inspired and feeling great all the time. And that's clearly not how things are.
I am dead inside.
And I've given you a bunch of tips to deal with change, but the key factor to all of this, if you really want to break through, is that you have to put in the effort. You got to play the game. You got to put yourself on the line. If you're sitting at home doing nothing, well, nothing is going to change in your life. Even if you're sad and unmotivated, you still have to attempt to make a change. You got to put yourself on the line. You got to take meetings. You got to do things you're inspired by, follow different leads. All of these things, take risks. These are leading to a big change in your life, even if they don't feel great at the time. You have to go through that process and play the game. And like any great athlete, they know that if you're playing the game, sometimes you're gonna lose. It's part of playing the game. There's no way of avoiding it. You're gonna fail at points. And that certainly happened to me over the last few years of my life. When I wanted to make a change, I was following a lot of different leads. There were a lot of things that I thought were so right at the time, and I put myself on the line. I took risks, and some of them didn't pan out. And that was really tough for me to deal with at the time. No one likes to lose at things. No one likes things to not work out. But it's just as important to rule things out as it is to rule things in, to really find that thing that makes sense. It's part of this game of figuring things out, is that some things aren't going to work. And you can look at them as failures or losses, but really you're just learning, you're growing, you're getting stronger, you're getting to that next phase. So that process is really painful, but it's so important. You got to keep pushing, you got to keep getting through, and the more you play the game, you will figure out what is next for you. About a year and a half ago, I really just wasn't motivated at the time with Brothers Green, with the YouTube channel, and I was looking for that next phase for me. What was that next thing in my career that would inspire me? And I had always dreamed of having my own travel cooking show. That was always something that I wanted at some point, and it kept coming up for me at that moment. It was feeling right. It felt like I should just go out and do it. So that's what I did. I tried to make a travel cooking show. So I teamed up with a production company from Montreal, and they really liked the idea as well. So we both invested money, we invested time, and a lot of creative energy into making a pilot for a travel cooking show that we would then pitch to a network that would hopefully pick it up and produce this whole thing. So we decided to travel to a small little island called Magdalene Island, which you've probably never heard of unless you live in Canada. It's right off the coast of Prince Edward Island. And the reason we traveled there is because we wanted the most exotic place where we could still travel to by car, because it's way too expensive to ship camera gear, across the ocean when you're on a tight budget. So we traveled to Magdalene Island. It took us some ridiculous amount of time, like 20 hours, and we really didn't have much of a plan at all other than to make an awesome travel cooking show. And we filmed for 4 days. We captured a lot of cool content. We tried out a lot of different ideas. We filmed with a lot of locals, and it was a blast. It was one of the best weeks of my life. I had so much fun filming with the production company, just being outdoors. Cooking outside is one of my favorite things. And when we got back, we put together a pilot episode and we started pitching it out to different production companies and different networks. And we got a lot of great feedback, but no one wanted to pick up the show. No one wanted the show. And this kind of went on for a few months until we just dropped the project. We said, all right, no one wants this, moving on. And of course, that was tough at the time. I was super confident. I felt great about this project. I felt that it was the next thing for me. But it wasn't, and I had to learn that the hard way. And it led me to where I'm at right now, which I'm super grateful for. And I learned so much along the way, and clearly the travel cooking show at that time, it just wasn't the right thing for me. But you know, I never really got to show many people that, other than the people I pitched it to and some close friends. It's just been sitting on a drive, and we put in a lot of work, and I'm proud of the pilot we created. So I figured I would show you. It didn't make sense to just leave it on a drive for eternity. So that's what I'm going to play next, is the travel cooking show pilot that we filmed in Magdalene Island over 4 days, and I hope you enjoy. Traveling to different cultures around the world where you really have no idea what you're getting into, and that's where the beauty lies. We show up in a location and it's an open canvas. We are just slowly starting to paint this story, and we don't know where it's gonna go, and that's what I am looking for on this show. All right. We've made it to the ferry. We've got these two cars right here packed to the brim. Literally, there's no extra space, and they actually go on the ferry, which is great because they're carrying all of our shit, and that's important when we need our stuff on the island. So we're gonna just drive these right up to that thing. Wow, we slipped ahead. So we left from Prince Edward Island. We had to drive 12 hours from Montreal to get there. Then it's 5 hours to get to Magdalen Island. And it's windy as shit right now because we're in the middle of the ocean. There's no protection. So this is insane. This is pretty much the middle of nowhere. I'm just interested to meet the people here, see how they live, see how they experience life, and just live in the beauty of Magdalen Island. Look at this right now. We're far out. We're close to the ocean, and then you've got your whole entire goat setup over here.
Yes.
Explain that to us.
Basically, the biggest building is where I keep the milkers.
Okay.
And then the house is where we make the cheese in the basement. There's a small room, if you like, where we opened up a boutique in there this summer.
Because there's a lot of tourists coming around.
Yeah, they say there's something like 60,000 tourists that comes on the island between June and August.
What was it that led you to goats on Magdalene Island?
It's a very tiny community, and then there's one guy that does cow cheese, there's one guy that does sheep, there's a couple guys that plant vegetables and stuff, and nobody goes and does the same thing as the other one does, so goat cheese. A lot of people say, I can't eat goat cheese, I mean, it's got this taste or whatever. And then they come up here and then we give them a taste and they're like, how come I can't eat yours? Well, we pull the milk in the morning and then comes out of the goat at 30-ish degrees, and then we bring it right away into the cheese place where we transform it. And then the day after, it's in the fridge, it's for sale. So it's not some sort of a farmer that just pull milk and then keeps it in a bulk tank, and then you got the truck that comes in once a week, and then it goes to the shop, and then it gets transformed, and then it gets shipped again to the store. See, it's so fresh. That's probably why the people say, oh, okay, I can consume goat cheese now.
You said you make you make coffee in the morning and a little espresso or
Well,
cappuccino?
I always go to the barn first, you know, around 5:30-ish, 6, and then get everything ready, and then we just pull the milk right away in the cup.
So the milk it's hot?
It comes out at 32-ish degrees.
Oh my God. Can we somehow experience that?
Give me a glass and I'll pull some milk right there for you.
Who's got a glass?
Okay, you gonna hold her and I got a milk?
What's the best way to hold her?
Just Robert.
Just be gentle. Oh my God, the foam. I gotta try that.
There you go.
Oh my God, that is insane. That's really good. All right, we are here on Magdalen Island on a private little beach, and we're gonna start off with a cappuccino, but this is a very special cappuccino because we've got fresh goat milk from Eric's Goats. We're gonna use this beautiful little Italian style coffee maker that Eric was nice enough to give us, and we've got some coffee. The first step's really easy. You're gonna unscrew this piece and you're gonna fill that up with water, right up to that line. That's gonna be about 2 cups perfectly. Then what we're gonna do is this little piece right here, we're gonna fill that up with the coffee grounds. And this is like a coarse grain coffee right here. Fill that up right to the top. Screw this baby on there and then just throw that on the fire. Let that come to the boil. And as it boils, the water's gonna start to extrude through the coffee and you're gonna have coffee in this top layer. Go. A goat milk fresh from the teat cappuccino. Oh my. That is heaven. Plus I got about 3 hours of sleep last night, so that just jolted me back to life. Woo!
En réalité, c'est le dernier fumoir qui reste en opération aux îles. Aux îles, il y avait 40 fumoirs. On a dû les fermer à la fin des années 70 à cause de la surpêche. Ça a été fermé pendant 20 ans. Et au début des années 90, on a commencé à revoir le hareng sur les côtes des îles. Donc, on a rénové le fumoir et on l'a reparti en 96, mais plus artisanal que commercial. Puis ça, tu lèves ta tête.
Head off. So it's pretty much like jerky after 3 months of smoking. I've never had fish jerky either, so this is...
Same as jerky.
It's really good. So this place is interesting because it's doing it the ancient way. So we've got herring here, and herring's interesting because I think he was saying it's the only fish that you smoke to preserve, to actually preserve it, whereas the other fishes you actually smoke them for flavor. And how often is it full of fish?
Around 80,000 pounds.
80,000 pounds. This is great. This is just good stuff. Like, this to me could replace beef jerky any day. Better than beef. It's just another great example of Magdalene Island using the local ingredients. That's what I love about this place. They're really taking advantage of what's around. All of this fish, excess fish, let's preserve it. We need preservation for the winter time as well. And he's the only one doing it too, which is very Magdalene Island. Everyone has their own thing here, and you stick to it, you do it well, you feed the community.
Merci.
Merci.
C'est rendu là. C'est rendu qu'on n'a même pas le droit de pêcher plus que X morues par jour. Que moi, j'y vais, j'ai pas le droit de pogner plus que 5.
So there's now regulations when it comes to fish because even here in the middle of the ocean, far, far away from anything else, they've they've got to, you know, the commercial fishing has gotten a little, I guess, out of hand. So as he says, when he goes to fish cod, he only can catch a certain amount, I think 5. But it seems like with mackerel, there's no limit?
No.
No limit. The idea is you basically drop the line. We're about 35 feet in depth right now, and we're going specifically for mackerels. They get attracted to whatever the bait is on there, and then you just do like what it looks like. You pull it up, you kind of wait for some action, and then you're really just yanking them on. Once they touch it, you yank the hook, and they get snatched. Oh! Oh!
Put up high.
Oh, okay, he just fell off.
Peut-être l'essayer. Je vais juste.
Jesus. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mackerel in a matter of like 10 minutes, I would say. That's pretty good fishing right there. Okay, take off the head. Take off one more piece. Oh, there's just there. This is incredible. Look at the sun right here. It is down. We are losing light. So we're gonna do just the quickest preparation possible because like I said, I just want to taste fish that came out of the ocean about 2 hours ago. That's all I really care about. So here you go. Here are 2 whole mackerels right here. I'm just gonna make a few thin slices in there. I'm just gonna take a piece of ginger and get some aromatics for the inside. Same thing for lemon. Shove in all of that lemon. Shove in a few slices of ginger. And I'm just gonna rip up some parsley, stuff it in there. Okay, so the last thing, I've got this wilderness spice. Basically, I call it wilderness spice because it's an all-purpose spice. Before I do any camping trip, I just grind up a bunch of good spices that I like. So it's real simple because you don't have a full kitchen, so you need to pack in as much flavor as possible. That's got salt in it as well. It's got coriander, it's got cumin, it's got pepper in there. A little bit of olive oil to ensure that skin gets nice and crispy. We get the thicker end of this baby right on there. We'll go just like that. Well, that will give us some good. Look at that flame. Oh, that's flame grilling the fish right there, and I like it. Check out the sear on that. We're just about there, guys. So much of that fishiness that people complain about is all because the fish isn't fresh. Just get into a nice solid chunk of this thing and then right into the mouth. Tender mackerel caught about 3 hours ago. Ocean to mouth. Oh my God. Mackerel. It's got a bad rap because it's not even fishy. That's what's crazy about it. That is just incredible, tender, delicious, fresh fish. That's heaven. Oh, could we taste that one?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's the cooked grain right there. So all of the sugars have been extracted out of that. Oh, we're gonna taste the wort. Now you just have a sugary barley water that's warm. Wow, that's very, very good. That's the thing. If it's good at this point,
It's gonna be.
it's gonna be real good. Wow. Compared to way back then, 15 years ago, what's the beer scene now like on Magdalene Island?
It's way different. Like people, I tried to brew an IPA like 10 years ago, and people were like, "Nah, it's bitter, eh?
Yeah.
It's too much tasty." Like,
Yeah.
And right now people are just going
That's-
crazy for
so
IPAs. So.
They're now it's like at the point where people want just creativity. I feel like
Yeah.
they're willing to.
They're open.
Well, how about I tell you about the recipe I'm doing? So I thought we would do stuffed zucchini flowers and then make a beer batter and fry them. Anything?
So
ringing a bell?
you should go with something that's gonna be like floral or spicy.
Maybe we try both of those and we see what makes sense.
Okay.
Bartender.
Bartender, this year is 13 ABV.
13%?
Yeah, it's a 13% hop wine.
Oh, you call it hop wine?
Yeah.
Wow, I've never had anything like this.
It's really floral,
Okay.
fruity, hoppy, but it's not that bitter. IPA.
It's
Hop
right in
wine.
between beer and wine.
And there's
My
no
God.
fruits. Like it's really fruity, but it's the hops that gives that
That could be
fruitiness.
nice. In the States, we don't drink beer this strong.
Why?
I don't know.
You don't drink wine?
It's a Canadian thing. I know. We're not there yet. We're getting there. The beer culture is slowly spreading to the more craft stuff, but it's taking people time to open up.
It's called trans IPA because that IPA is not an IPA. It's a white IPL.
Cheers. Yeah, it's drier than what your typical IPA. I like that too. I think we got it.
Okay,
Two
cool.
for two.
Cheers.
Amazing. Thank you. This is great.
Alain.
Alain?
Alain.
Alain. Nice to meet you.
It's
Very
mine.
nice to meet you. And this is his whole garden setup.
Yeah.
Would you call this a farm or a
No, jardin.
jardin, which is garden?
Yeah.
Okay. What I found most interesting about Cindy's uncle was that he didn't even call his place a farm, but he calls it a garden. It's not about this huge operation on a farm level. It's not about making money. It's about feeding the community, and that's what everyone is about there. He's just so open to giving us whatever we need. As many strawberries as we want to pick, as many cucumbers from the greenhouse. Like, he would never put chemicals into his food because he would never want to harm anyone in his community. So let's start out with this recipe. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get our oil hot. So we've got just some plain old cooking oil, anything neutral. This is canola oil. You'd call this more of a shallow fry. Shallow frying's great because it heats up faster. It's a little easier to control. And the only thing different is you're just gonna have to flip it over once. You're not deep frying, so it's not going deep in the oil. This is a classic herb mixed goat cheese, the plain, and then this is the spicy. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that, just like that, kind of give it a twist. We'll set that aside. We're gonna stuff it in there. You don't know what you get until you crack this thing open. We're gonna do a beer batter, which is great because you've got the carbonation of the beer and you've got flavor, but not only flavor, we've got that 13%er. This was basically wine beer, and I found this stuff incredible. I've never had anything quite like it. This Trans IPA, this is just plain all-purpose flour. Pop that in. Just add a few pinches of salt in there. We're gonna start off with this Trans IPA, and look at the bubbliness. That's gonna create a really crispy batter. A little bit of that. Okay, We've got our 2 batters. Wow, check this out. Check out the different colors. That's beautiful. And just give them a fry. It's pretty obvious what you're looking for when you're frying anything. It's like a nice golden brown, but the key is really controlling the temperature of the oil, because what happens is if it fries too fast, then you're not gonna actually cook it through. And to cook it through, you're gonna end up burning it. Perfect right there. We're getting a little oil splatter, but everything's all right, I hope. Oh, just leaked out. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I can tell. We've got the lighter one right here, and we've got the dark guy right here. So we'll pair these, boom, boom, and what I'll do is I'll actually do an actual pairing with the beer.
She's back.
She's back from
The brewery.
straight from the brewery.
Yep.
Like, what's the best way to do the pairing? Sip first, taste after, or taste after? Sip.
I'll say sip, taste, and sip.
Sip, taste, sip.
So you won't miss it.
I was thinking that. Cheers.
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 Ooh. It is delicious. Oh,
I'm interested to see if there's any difference between the 2 beers. That was kind of the goal. I like that. Look
Oh,
at
yeah.
that. Wow.
I get the bitterness.
Freshness.
It's more citrusy.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if it's the lemon or I think it's both. I think it's that working with the lemon is like bright. It sings. Wow, I like that. Beautiful.
Everything's awesome.
As we talked to different people of the island, I kept hearing the same thing over and over again, which was, we're just here to serve the community. It's not about getting ahead, it's about doing it for the people. And that's what makes them happy. That's what builds community. They are serving others. As we move forward in this show, I want to explore how that opens up in different cultures, because I know every single community does it a different way. How do they survive together and flourish in this world?
Cheers. Cheers.
Merci.